One of the biggest parts of this social fight back is fixing our welfare system. For years we've had a system that encourages the worst in people.
As soon as I saw these pictures of burning buildings, I knew for a fact he would use that as ammunition against people. I just knew straight off the bat he's going to start attacking the unemployed because of this.
I want us to look at toughening up the conditions for those who are out of work and receiving benefits.
How could you make it any tougher than it already is, you know? You know, 3 strikes you're out, that's it, you know, you're cut off. All your help is stopped. I don't know how the hell you could make that any harder.
20-year-old Daniel Robbins is out of work. He has spent the last year in the welfare system that the government is set to make even tougher on claimants. To show that he is actively seeking work, Daniel has accepted 2 voluntary work placements.
Work is at the heart of a responsible society.
The first place I worked was Poundland. When you're doing a job someone else is getting a living wage for and you're just claiming your £50 a week, it makes you feel like a second-class citizen.
Daniel then volunteered to work at a local charity shop, a placement he says was made compulsory halfway through.
I spent 3 months steaming clothes 6 hours a day in order to earn my welfare. I lasted 3 months doing this, 360 hours. My alarm clock didn't go off, and I phoned in 5 minutes late saying I would make up the time, and my work provider told me not to bother going in. I went to the job centre, asked them about it, and they were straight on the phone to the decision maker, and they told me it could be a 6-month sanction for making a simple human error. I had 4 days left. Only 4 days.
The welfare reform bill that's going through at the moment imposes harsher sanctions on people. The idea is to ensure that they don't get away with kind of looking for work half-heartedly. It isn't a two-way process at the moment. It does seem to be that things are done to the claimant without their side of the story, and it isn't even and isn't balanced. And of course, we also have to remember that these include many very vulnerable people who the power relationship isn't equal anyway. So actually, even just to get things on an even footing, somebody needs a significant amount of support to express themselves.
Yeah, right, that's not in there.
Michael Williams has had alcohol problems and recently lost his brother. His job search slacked off and his benefits were cut off as a result.
Yeah, last meal was Tuesday night.
And it's Friday today.
Yeah. Disgrace. Expected to live, like this. Just can't do it. Can't even have a cup of tea or not, drinking water. I lost my brother 3 weeks ago. Now it's devastating what's happened to him. And for this to go on top of it, it's making it even worse.
And so your job searching was going all right until then?
Yeah, so when I actually signed on, give the girl my form, she said, oh, they might sanction this because it's not filled in right. So I went, hold on, I said, I've just lost my brother. I said, I've done what I can. So when it's just gone and she went, oh no, they've disallowed your payment because this is not good enough.
With his benefit cut off, Michael was left to navigate the complex world of crisis loans and hardship funds. I
phoned them today and they said, I don't fit the criteria. I said, what's the criteria? I said, when you've got no money. I said, my money's run out. My money run out last Tuesday, so I'm living on nothing. And she went, you'll have to go to soup kitchens. I said, why should I? I said, when I'm entitled to my money. I said, it was a genuine mistake. I lost my brother. And they just wouldn't have it. And they just said, oh no, there's nothing we can do. And I went, at the end of it, said, have a nice day. I went, what? I said, what are you on about? Have a nice day. He said, you're joking, aren't you?
It's harrowing. It's quite terrifying to a degree because at the end of the day, it is your livelihood. I feel like they're trying to sort of segregate, so to speak, the underclass from the rest of society. Forcing people into this unpaid work, forcing people to face sanctions for the most trivial of things, you know. I was up for anything to make me more employable. I thought the programme would be a lot more understanding towards the individual. Like, you're doing this to benefit yourself and ultimately benefit the rest of society, but I soon discovered it was in place to punish me in some form or another. sort of break me, so to speak, from this dependency on welfare.
We can understand the need for people to be pushed and encouraged to look harder for work, and obviously with the economy as it is, people might need to be more flexible than they've previously been in terms of travelling further to find a job. But the way that needs to happen is very different from what we see is happening at the moment. People need to be supported more, and people need to be, there's one thing to urge someone and to encourage someone, explain what's expected of them. And it's very different to just cut their benefits and without really explaining what they've done wrong.
A Job Centre Plus presentation in March laid out plans for tougher sanctions and what it called the cleansing of 1 million claims a year. David Cameron now wants the tough welfare reforms to go even further.
Now, we're already addressing this through the Welfare Reform Bill going through Parliament, but I'm not satisfied that we're doing all we can.
After the riots, a public petition calling for all those convicted to have their benefits cut off won the support of Work and Pensions Secretary Ian Duncan-Smith.
This gentleman I've got in now has been sanctioned because this has been filled in incorrectly.
Mersey Advice in Birkenhead help people like Michael to appeal against their benefit sanctions. They have already seen the social problems of cutting off the benefits of vulnerable people.
It's a poor area anyway. Birkenhead, certainly Birkenhead Central, is a poor area. So it's going to be far worse, the financially far worse off. You're going to have a lot more crime, you're going to have a lot more people getting mugged, a lot more people getting put in prison, which obviously is far more expensive for the government in total. My client, who we're still battling with the upper tribunal at the moment, hasn't been paid since the 23rd of February. He's lived on crisis loans, he's had to resort to stealing, been caught every time he's stolen, been taken to court and released on bail, and released and been given fines. Can't pay any fines because he's not getting any money coming in.
Another of their clients, Stefan, has been trying to turn his life around after a troubled childhood. He has also faced pressure from the Job Centre and a sanction for forgetting his passbook when he went to sign on.
I was pretty upset. I had no money. I felt like I was doing what I had to do, and I also felt really judged by it as well. I'm doing training through the voluntary placement that I do, but yet they still want me to search for any job whatsoever. So basically they'd rather I went and worked in a factory rather than carry on with the diploma that I'm doing, because I'm doing training. You know, that I'm looking for a positive outcome in my life, and yet they seem to be pushing me to a negative one. I actually come from a history of committing crime and a vulnerable lifestyle. Fortunately, you know, I was reinstated with my money, but a lot of things can happen when you get put into these situations.
I stand out here sometimes. So I can view it. That's what I'm gonna do. I just feel like jumping off there. So I said to them, no, I said if I end up dead at the weekend, don't be blaming yourself, will you? Just didn't know what to say. You know what I mean? Our welfare state is a joke. It's just a complete joke.
We talk about moral hazard in our financial system. Well, this is, if you like, moral hazard in our welfare system. People thinking they can be irresponsible because the state will always bail them out.
Social security is meant to be a human right. It's meant to empower you so you can find sustainable employment and start contributing yourself. But they've almost sort of perverted it, so to speak. You know, they've perverted the idea of what social security is.